Ever get that feeling? Like reality is just a bit off? Like maybe we're not seeing the whole picture.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving deep into a concept that tackles that very question, the simulation theory.
Ah, the simulation thing.
We'll be exploring it from two different angles, using an excerpt from Escaping the Simulation, Neville Goddard's Guide to Reality.
That sounds really interesting.
It is.
What is it about?
It's all about examining the simulation theory,
That-
not just from like the typical sci-fi perspective, but also from a spiritual point of view.
Okay.
So let's start with the Peck side of things.
Yeah, okay.
The idea that we're all living in this super advanced computer program.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be taking that seriously? I mean, is that something that we should actually worry about?
Well, the source we're looking at argues that with all the advancements we've seen in AI, virtual reality, even just the processing power of our everyday devices,
Right.
it's making the idea of a simulated reality more and more plausible as time goes on.
Okay, I get that our tech is definitely getting more complex. But to think that we could be living in a simulation created by some civilization in the future,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that a pretty big leap?
It is a pretty wild thought, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But the source points out that
Mm-hmm.
if we think about how we create video games today,
Yeah.
they're becoming increasingly complex and realistic.
Yeah, definitely.
So imagine a civilization that's thousands, maybe millions of years ahead of us.
Okay.
The simulations they could create would be mind-blowing.
So we're talking like hyper-realistic simulations.
Yes.
Where we wouldn't even know we were in a program.
Precisely. And the source even delves into those glitch in the matrix moments we've all experienced.
What do you mean?
Things like déjà vu,
Oh, yeah.
that feeling that you've lived this moment before.
Yeah.
Or when technology just malfunctions in ways that seem impossible.
Right.
The source proposes those events as potential signs
Mm.
of imperfections in the simulated reality.
I don't know if I buy the whole glitches in the matrix thing. Couldn't that just be coincidences? Or are brains just like misfiring?
I think a lot of skeptics would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But the source is presenting these events as possible evidence,
Mm.
even if it's not definitive proof.
Okay, so let's say, for the sake of argument, we are living in a simulation.
Right.
Does that mean our experiences are less meaningful?
That's a big question.
Do our relationships, our achievements, all of our emotions, do they all just become meaningless?
The source actually addresses this directly.
Okay.
It argues that the meaning we find in life doesn't depend on whether our reality is base reality or a sophisticated simulation.
So you're saying even if our world is essentially code, our emotions and experiences are still genuinely felt?
That's exactly it. Think about it this way.
Yeah.
Imagine you're achieving everything you've ever dreamed of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it really matter if that's happening in some base reality or in a simulated one?
I guess not.
The feeling of accomplishment, the joy, the fulfillment,
Yeah.
those are all real to you, the one experiencing it.
It really makes you think about what's truly important.
It does.
The source also talks about some potential downsides to escaping the simulation, though, right?
Yes. It uses the analogy of ripping a page out of the book of existence.
Mm-hmm.
It's urging us to think about the potential consequences of disrupting the grand design,
Even if it's a simulated one.
even if it's a simulated one.
So it's not just about escaping.
Right,
It's
and-
more about understanding our role
Mm-hmm.
within the simulation
Yes.
and the potential impact of our actions.
Precisely. And this is where the source introduces the ideas of Neville Goddard.
Neville Goddard.
Yes, he was a mystic and teacher
Okay.
who believed that our thoughts actually have the power to shape our reality.
Wait, hold on. So if we're in a simulation, you're
Yeah.
saying our thoughts can actually change the program.
That's the idea.
It's more than just positive thinking, right?
It goes much deeper than that, yes.
Okay.
Goddard's perspective
Yeah.
makes the simulation concept less about technology and more about our mental and spiritual state.
So instead of trying to break out of a physical simulation, we're really trying to escape the limitations of our own minds.
Exactly. Goddard actually used the phrase living in a dream world
Oh, interesting.
to describe how most people aren't even aware of their ability to shape their reality.
Okay, so how do we wake up from this dream world?
He talked about being born from above,
Born from above.
which in his view is basically a spiritual awakening to our true nature and potential.
So we realize that we're not just passive players, but active participants in shaping our reality.
Precisely.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see where this is going.
Good.
So instead of being stuck in some pre-programmed simulation, we can actually rewrite the code.
That's a great way to put it. And this leads us to another of Goddard's concepts, the Christ within.
The Christ within.
It's important to note that he wasn't talking about a religious figure.
Right.
He was using Christ as a metaphor.
What was it a metaphor for?
The divine self that exists within each of us,
Oh.
just waiting to be activated.
I like that.
That inner power to create and shape our own reality.
So we're not just puppets in this program.
No.
We have the potential to become the programmers.
Yes. And that's where the source's exploration of love and purpose comes in.
Okay, so we're going to get into love and purpose after a quick break.
Exactly.
All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
So we've talked about escaping a technological simulation, and we've touched on Neville Goddard's idea of escaping the limitations of our own minds. But how do those two things connect? And where do love and purpose fit into all of this?
Well, the source we're looking at suggests that love is actually the key that unlocks our creative power.
Okay.
Goddard believed that love is the most powerful force in the universe.
Yeah.
It connects us to something bigger than ourselves and allows us to manifest our desires.
When you say love, do you mean like romantic love?
Just romantic love, no.
Yeah.
It's a much broader, more universal kind of love.
Mhm.
It's about compassion, kindness, and empathy. The kind of love that goes beyond our differences and connects us all.
So how does that tie into shaping our reality? I mean, I get how positive thinking might help you achieve a goal, but this seems like we're talking about something much larger, right?
Yes, definitely. The source suggests that when we act from a place of genuine love, when our thoughts and actions align with that higher frequency, we actually begin to influence the very fabric of our reality. It's like we're tapping into a universal energy source and directing it towards our intentions.
Okay, I'll be honest, that's a pretty wild concept.
It is.
But let's say I'm on board with this idea. Where does purpose come in? Is finding your purpose another key to escaping the simulation?
The source emphasizes the importance of purpose. As a guiding force in shaping our reality, Goddard believed that everyone has a unique purpose, something that brings them joy and fulfillment. It's not about fame or fortune or anything like that.
So it's about finding that thing that lights you up and
Exactly.
going after it with passion.
Precisely. And the source argues that when you discover and embrace your true purpose, you step into a more powerful creative role.
Yeah.
You're not just playing a part in the simulation anymore. You're actively co-creating it.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
But let's get down to the practical stuff here. How do we actually do this?
Right.
How do we escape the simulation? How do we rewrite the code, tap into our divine selves, and all that?
Well, the source outlines a few actionable steps based on Goddard's teachings. And the first step is awareness. Becoming aware that your reality might be a construct, a product of your thoughts and beliefs.
So awareness is the first step. What comes after that?
Well, the next step is to question your assumptions. All those limiting beliefs we pick up along the way.
Yeah.
Ask yourself if they're really true or if they're just holding you back.
I think we all have those negative thoughts and those self-doubts that can really sabotage us.
Absolutely.
But how do we actually get rid of them?
That's where practices like mindfulness and meditation can be really helpful. The source highlights how important it is to quiet the external noise of the simulation, all the distractions and anxieties that keep us from connecting with our inner wisdom.
So by calming our minds and tuning into our inner selves, we can start to challenge those limiting beliefs.
Exactly. And once you've created some space in your mind, the next step is visualization. The source encourages us to visualize the life we want in vivid detail, as if it's already happening.
So we're talking about more than just daydreaming.
Yes. It's more active and focused than that.
Yeah.
By creating a clear mental image of your desired reality, you're essentially rewriting the code. You're sending a powerful message to the universe about what you want to experience.
So in a sense, we become programmers of our own reality.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the final step the source emphasizes is surrounding yourself with positive influences.
You mean things like inspiring books, podcasts, spending time with people who lift you up?
Exactly. By creating an environment that reinforces your new beliefs and aspirations, you're further solidifying the changes you've made in your mind.
Okay, so we've got awareness, questioning our assumptions, mindfulness, visualization, and surrounding ourselves with positivity. It sounds like a pretty good roadmap for escaping the simulation. But is there anyone who's actually done this, like successfully rewritten the code of their reality?
The source actually offers some examples of individuals who seem to have defied the odds and achieved incredible things.
Like who?
Oprah Winfrey is a great example. She came from a really challenging background and went on to create a media empire And then you have someone like Elon Musk, who's always pushing the boundaries of technology and innovation.
So they saw the limitations,
Mm-hmm.
but they refused to be defined by them. They
Exactly.
used their determination and will to create something extraordinary.
What's really interesting is that they didn't let their starting point hold them back. They had a vision, they believed in their power to create change, and they took action.
That's incredibly inspiring. It shows that we all have the potential to break free from limitations and achieve things that might seem impossible.
Absolutely. However, the source also acknowledges that escaping the simulation, or rather, consciously creating your reality, is a process.
It's not an overnight thing.
No, not at all. There will be doubts, setbacks, and challenges along the way.
So we're not going to wake up tomorrow with superpowers and a perfect life.
Haha, probably not. But the key is to keep going, to keep practicing those principles we talked about.
Yeah.
And trust the process.
Sounds like it takes commitment
It does.
and some serious inner work.
Yeah, it does. But the potential payoff is creating a life that truly reflects what you want. It seems worth the effort to me.
Yeah, it does. To understand Goddard's teachings even better, let's take a closer look at some of his specific concepts, like the conscious and subconscious mind.
Okay.
What are those all about?
Well, Goddard believed our conscious mind is the logical, analytical part of us.
Okay.
It's constantly evaluating and making decisions. It's like the computer processor, taking in information and deciding what to do with it.
So that's the part of us that's always thinking, analyzing, and making choices.
Exactly. But then there's the subconscious mind, which is much more powerful.
How is it different?
Goddard described the subconscious as the storehouse of our beliefs, values, and past experiences. It's running in the background most of the time, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and actions without us even realizing it.
So if our subconscious is full of negative beliefs or limiting assumptions, those are going to affect our reality, even if we're trying to create something different.
Yes, exactly. It's like having faulty code running in the background, sabotaging our efforts to create something better.
So how do we reprogram our subconscious mind? That sounds pretty tough.
Well, Goddard suggested several techniques, including visualization, affirmations, and consciously choosing our thoughts and reactions. It's about becoming aware of the negative programming and actively replacing it with more empowering beliefs.
It's like debugging the code line by line until we have a program that supports what we want.
That's a great way to put it. But there's another layer to this. The source also mentions the idea of a superconscious mind or higher self.
Okay, now, we're getting into some deep stuff. What's the superconscious mind all about?
Well, Goddard believed this is the part of us that's connected to something greater. A universal consciousness or divine source.
Okay.
It's where our intuition, inspiration, and higher wisdom come from.
So it's like a direct line to the ultimate programmer. And we can tap into that wisdom to help us create the life we want.
Exactly. And Goddard believed that love is the key to accessing this higher consciousness. When we act from a place of love, compassion, and forgiveness, we align with a higher frequency and unlock our true potential.
That makes me think about the idea of manifesting.
Yes.
Is that connected to what Goddard was teaching?
Absolutely. Goddard believed that we can create our reality through our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. But he stressed that it's not just about wishing for things to happen.
So it's more than just positive thinking.
Yes, it is. It's about actively aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with what we want. It's about embodying the feeling of already having it and trusting that the universe will bring it into our reality.
Like setting the GPS in our minds to where we want to go and trusting that we'll get there, even if we don't know the exact route.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But the source also reminds us that there can be challenges and obstacles along the way.
Of course, it can't all be smooth sailing, right?
Right. Escaping the simulation or consciously creating our reality isn't always easy. We might encounter doubt, fear, resistance from others, or just the weight of our old programming.
So how do we deal with those challenges? How do we keep going when it gets tough?
The source emphasizes the importance of persistence, patience, and self-belief. It's about remembering that we have the power to overcome anything and create the life we desire.
It's like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
We might hit a difficult level or a boss that's hard to beat,
Yeah,
but we know we have the skills to win.
exactly. Sometimes we might need to improve our skills, try new strategies, or ask for help. But the most important thing is to never give up on our vision and always believe in our ability to create change.
The source also mentioned that it's important to have positive influences and supportive people in our lives too, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's so important to create an environment that encourages growth and reinforces our positive beliefs. That could mean finding communities of like-minded people, reading inspiring books, listening to uplifting podcasts, anything that helps us stay focused on our goals and vision.
It's like building a team of allies to help us through the challenges.
Exactly. The more we surround ourselves with positivity and build strong connections, the easier it becomes to break free from those limitations and create a reality that truly aligns with who we are.
You know, even if we don't know for sure if we're living in a simulation, the ideas that Neville Goddard taught are still really powerful.
Absolutely. Whether it's an actual computer simulation or just a mental one created by our beliefs and perceptions, the idea that we can shape our own reality is both inspiring and empowering.
It really challenges us to take responsibility for our lives, question our assumptions, and actively create the experiences we want. And that's a valuable message, whether the simulation theory is true or not.
The source also dives into some of Goddard's more mystical ideas, like his interpretation of the Christ within and the concept of being born from above.
Okay, let's talk about those. What did Goddard mean by the Christ within?
For Goddard, Christ wasn't a religious figure. It was a symbol of our own potential, our own divinity.
So it's not about religion or worshiping something outside of ourselves.
Not at all. It's about recognizing the divinity within each of us, the power and potential that we all have.
And how do we tap into that Christ within?
Goddard believed that we can do that through things like spiritual practices, self-reflection, and aligning ourselves with love and compassion.
What about the concept of being born from above? What does that mean?
He used that phrase to describe a spiritual awakening, a shift in consciousness where we realize our true nature and potential. It's about moving beyond the limitations of our ego and connecting with a higher power within.
So it's like a rebirth, letting go of our old beliefs and embracing a more empowered way of being.
Exactly. And Goddard believed that this kind of spiritual transformation is essential for escaping the simulation, or I guess you could say, for consciously creating the reality we want.
So it's not just about changing our external world.
No.
It's about changing ourselves from the inside out.
Yes, it's about a fundamental shift in how we see ourselves and the world.
That's fascinating. The source also mentions that this transformation isn't just a one-time event, it's a continuous journey.
Absolutely. It's like a video game where we're constantly leveling up, gaining new insights and unlocking hidden potential as we play.
So even if we never figure out for sure if we're in a simulation, exploring these concepts can still be incredibly valuable.
I think so.
Yeah.
It challenges us to question everything, to embrace our potential, and to really appreciate the mystery and wonder of life. And that's a journey worth taking, no matter where it leads.
You know, after learning all of this, it makes you wonder what the world would be like if everyone embraced this idea of conscious creation.
Right. What if everyone understood their power to shape reality?
What if fear and limitation were replaced with love and possibility?
That's a beautiful thought. I love how this perspective shifts our focus away from limitations and onto possibilities. Instead of feeling trapped in some predetermined program, we can see ourselves as active participants in creating our reality.
The source also reminds us that we're not alone on this journey.
That's right.
There are many people who are awakening to their true power and choosing to create a more loving and fulfilling world.
By connecting with those people, sharing our experiences, and supporting each other, we can make a real difference in the world.
I love that.
It's all about collective evolution.
Now, we're going to leave you with this final thought-provoking question from the source. What if the idea of the simulation isn't about disillusionment, but about realizing your own creative power?
It's a call to step into your full potential, to embrace the unknown, and to create a reality that truly reflects your highest vision for yourself and the world.
If any of this has sparked your curiosity, we highly recommend checking out Neville Goddard's work. His teachings offer some amazing insights into the nature of reality, the power of consciousness, and the possibilities that come with self-awareness.
Remember, whether we're living in a simulation or not, the journey of self-discovery and conscious creation can lead us to a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
That's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Keep exploring.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just wild to think that our thoughts could really shape our reality. Is it really possible that we're not just watching everything unfold, but actually creating our experiences?
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it?
It is.
What Goddard found so interesting was that he believed our individual realities are all interconnected, like threads woven together into this massive tapestry. Our thoughts and actions don't just affect us.
Right.
They ripple outward and influence everyone else's reality, too.
So we're all kind of contributing to a shared simulation in a way.
Exactly. The source even suggests that As more people become aware of this power and start consciously creating their reality, it could have a huge positive impact on the world as a whole.
That's really hopeful.
Yeah.
So it's not just about escaping the simulation for ourselves. It's about making the simulation better for everyone.
That's a big part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
The Source really emphasizes that. This is where we find true purpose and fulfillment, when we use our creative power to help ourselves and others, to spread love and kindness, and to contribute to a more conscious world.
It's like we're all playing this huge multiplayer game together.
Yeah.
And we have the choice to work together to create a more beautiful and harmonious experience for everyone.
It's a powerful shift in perspective,
Yeah.
moving from feeling limited and helpless to feeling like we have a real say in how things unfold.
So even if we never know for sure if we're actually in a simulation, just exploring these ideas can make our lives more meaningful.
Absolutely. It encourages us to question everything, embrace our potential, and live more intentionally.
Makes you wonder, what would the world be like if everyone took this to heart?
Imagine a world where people understood their own power to shape reality, where fear and limitation were replaced by love and possibility.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling a sense of possibility after this deep dive. I'm seeing the world with new eyes.
I think that's one of the most exciting things about this perspective. It shifts our focus from what we can't do to what we can do. Instead of feeling trapped, we realize that we can be active participants in creating our reality.
And the Source reminds us that we're not alone on this journey.
Of course not.
There are countless people out there who are waking up to this and choosing to create a more loving and fulfilling world.
And by connecting with those people, sharing our experiences, and supporting each other, we can actually make a real difference.
So, to everyone listening, we'll leave you with this final thought from the Source. What if the whole concept of the simulation isn't about being disillusioned, but about realizing your own creative power?
It's a beautiful invitation to step into your full potential, to embrace the wonder of existence, and to co-create a reality that reflects your highest vision for yourself and for the world.
And if you're interested in diving deeper into these ideas, we highly recommend checking out Neville Goddard's work.
His teachings offer incredible insights into the nature of reality, the power of consciousness, and what's possible when we truly know ourselves.
Remember, whether the simulation is real or not, the journey of self-discovery and conscious creation can lead us to a much richer life.
I think that's a great takeaway.
That's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's been a great conversation.
Keep exploring, everyone.
And keep questioning.